And now it's time for our nest box updates because tis the season for nest boxes in our area. And in this segment, which will be running for the next couple of months at least, we'll be sharing what's happening in our local birdhouses as spring migration kicks into high gear. So as a reminder to the audience, we are tracking wood ducks, bluebirds, and tree swallows throughout the season, and we'll be bringing you highlights every week. So Dustin, let's start with our wood duck boxes. Let's talk about some of those key developments, like what kind of eggs are laying, what hatchling dates might be approaching, the behaviors of the hen, any concerns or any activities that are notable that you're seeing for this week. And I believe you even have a fancy schmancy Gantt chart that you can share with us. Is that correct?
I do.
All right, so let's get to it.
All right, last time I showed you simply that I had established a Gantt chart because it was a dorky thing where I wanted to see how consistent she was at when she visits the nest. And at that point, I said that we would start seeing full-time incubation at any time now. And this actually was the first night. So these green marks indicate when the hen was present in the nest, and gray indicates half-hour time periods when she was not present in the nest. And so what we were expecting to see is a transition from times when she was mostly not in the nest to being in the nest. And she spent a couple of nights, but then was away from the nest during the day. And so this is when we saw her full-time incubation start around April 15th. And then her rest times started to become really, really consistent, especially in the morning. Look at these times. She left the nest for her break at 6:04, 5:52, 5:50, 5:45, 5:49, 5:52, 5:46, and 5:50. So essentially all within the same 15-minute period. And this is for a bird that does not wear a watch.
Well, the lady has to take a morning bathroom break.
Yes, but even her returns were remarkably consistent. This first day was the longest break, but she's been returning at 7:04, 6:55, 6:55, 7:23, 7:05, 7:11, 7:02, remarkably consistent where that break is happening. And we're seeing now that she's about 10 days into the full incubation period. This will be a 30-day incubation, so we expect a likely hatch date around May 15th.
Okay. I see that we have a battery issue that popped up.
We do, and I need to get out there today before 6 o'clock in order to replace the batteries.
Okay, and that's something that just pops up from time to time, right? And
yes.
You just have to replace the batteries, and that's it.
Yes, and I know I need to get there back by 6 o'clock because, look at when she takes her break times. Usually she's out of the nest from 4:30 till returning between 6:30 and 7 o'clock.
Got it. And you can usually hear her when she flies off because one of this nest box is not far from our house, right? That's why it works, because the camera has access to our Wi-Fi.
Yes, when it has batteries.
When it has batteries, right. And does she always make that song or whatever, that vocalization when she flies away from the box?
Usually, yes.
Okay. What does it sound like?
It's sort of like a whistle, like an alarm whistle, like... I can't produce that for you.
Is she like calling for her friends? Like, hey guys, I got a break.
Kind of, yes.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. So she's incubating. She's very consistent on when she's taking her bathroom breaks. Are those also the times when, like, how is she eating?
She's eating while she's out of the nest. That's it.
And that's it?
That's it. Twice a day.
Oh, that's the worst.
She has to hold it too. She eats and goes to the bathroom during her break, but she's not going to the bathroom in the nest during this whole sort of, 10 to 12 hour period.
She's a good mama.
She is. And we have some videos to show you as well that show her preparing to leave the nest and covering up her eggs on both sides and working her way all around so that the down is fully covering the eggs while she's gone. Seeing her leave the nest, and then when she returns and she checks on them and removes the down and really settles herself down onto the clutch to keep them warm for the night.
And those down feathers are coming from her, correct?
Yeah, she plucks them from her own breast.
Ouch. Okay. Wow, she really is super mama.
Well, yeah, a lot of birds also, they synchronize their own molting with this process so that they're not going to be flying much while they're caring for their babies. So they're able to grow their new birds at that time. Canada geese, for example, go through a flightless period where they can barely fly, if at all, while they're caring for their babies.
Okay. Any concerns? Anything else of note going on? Or is it like smooth sailing right now?
Smooth sailing for this hen right now. The other box that I have a camera in hasn't really had any activity. And it's getting late. I'm starting to worry that box number 2 probably will not have a wood duck in it this year.
Okay. All right. Well, you win some, you lose some, right?
Yep. I do have 8 more out on the lake. They just don't have cameras, and I haven't been able to get in the kayak and get around to there because of my health situation. So,
got it. Okay. Anything else of note that you want to cover for our audience for this week's update on wood ducks, or should we move on to bluebirds?
Let's move on to bluebirds. So it's a little bit early in the season for bluebirds, but because they're not migratory, they are already in full nesting progress. I have a photo here of 2 bluebird eggs that are the first eggs in our nest boxes. The nest box, the bluebird trail that I have has 16 boxes on it. Right now, 3 of them have bluebird nests that are either complete or nearing completion. And this is the only one that has eggs yet. As of Thursday evening, it was 2 eggs. And so I expect that to probably be a full clutch by now. And I expect that bluebird will begin incubating if she hasn't already. And given those dates, those bluebirds would be hatching around May 10th to 15th, in that range. And then lastly, the tree swallows have really just arrived in the last couple of weeks, and they're only just beginning to defend some nest boxes. So they're really active, but their schedule is a bit later. I usually have a first egg for them around May 10th or 15th.